So to the following people in my audience, remember how you used to say and how we all knew that Russiagate was nothing more than a bunch of BS? Now, people are saying that this is a distraction. And on the one hand, yes, it is. It is a distraction. On the other hand, okay, great. People, wake up to reality. This was always how the establishment works. They trick you. They play games. We are actually living in a twisted world of the Matrix. They live. Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World, and hell, add a little spicy idiocracy here, there too. Russiagate, turns out, was Hillary Clinton gave the okay to smear Trump with the Russian collusion because it was all a bunch of BS in the first place. So, hey, we've been vindicated. Vote blue no matter who. You can suck me off later. I know. Don't worry, folks. Gee, Kit, you're kind of saying some profane words. Well, at least while YouTube is changing the guidelines, apparently you could say some swear words now. So isn't that fucking great? Oop. Oh no, I said an adult word to adults watching late evening. What will I ever do? Because Russiagate, Russia was nothing more than a joke. So let's go ahead and pull up this article here, okay? First of all, it's from the New York Post. I know. But see, I could sympathize with the New York Post because they got censored a lot, especially when they dropped the Hunter Biden laptop story. But nonetheless, nobody's perfect, but I'll roll with it. So Hillary Clinton, say it ain't so, Hill Dog signed off on a plan hatched by a top campaign advisor to smear then candidate Donald Trump with false claims of Russia collusion. Oh, by the way, folks, somewhere out there, do you hear it? Oh, it's Rachel Maddow crying. She's like, oh, my bread and butter. Everyone's going to know I was a hack fraud. That's right. Hey, listen, Trump and Russiagate, listen, that made Rachel a lot of money. And when I mean a lot, I mean a lot. I mean, who knows? She probably paid Ben Stiller to look a lot like her. Shout out to Russell and Jose when they confronted those two. Honestly, you know what? Sometimes if I smoke or drink too much, I couldn't tell those two apart. Which one was Rachel and which one was Ben Stiller? So anyways, apparently the Russia collusion was a way to distract her or deflect from her own mounting email scandal that even Bernie Sanders, that nutless cuck of a wonder, said he didn't care about. The 24-page intelligence annex was compiled from memos and emails obtained by the Barack Obama administration in the lead up to election day that laid out confidential conversations between leaders of the Democratic National Committee, including then chair, say it ain't so, the ramen noodle hair lady herself, Debbie Washman Schultz, and liberal billionaire George Soros. Open Society Foundations. Oh no, the plot, the brainchild of the Clinton campaign's then foreign policy advisor, Julian Smith, included raising the theme of Putin's support of Trump and subsequently steering public opinion toward the notion that it needs to equate Russia's leader's political influence campaign with actual hacking of election infrastructure. I'm gonna make a controversial statement here. We knew that this was BS. We lost a lot of friends. We had some begrudging friendships here and there with people who did not really like our opinion on this. But you know what? In my opinion, it's either you ride with us or you don't. Okay? Simple as that. All right. Oh, is it Scam Likely calling me? Don't worry, folks. Listen, if anything happens to me, remember, I want to live. Smith would go on to serve former President Joe Biden's ambassador to NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. By the way, just a little known fact about NATO. Do you want to know who some of the key military advisors were when it was starting to get founded up? Some members of the Wehrmacht of the Third Reich. Anyways, I don't have any comments, she told the Post when reached by phone Thursday. Open Society's senior vice president, Leonard Bernardo, was looped in on the scheme and laid out its intended effect in a series of emails in late July 2016. It'll be a long-term affair, ooh la la, a long-term affair, to demonize Putin and Trump, to put them in bed together. Check out this document. Obama has no intention to darken the final part of his presidency and legacy by a scandal surrounding the main contender. Oh my goodness. To solve the problem, the president puts pressure on FBI Director James Comey through Attorney General Lynch. However, so far without concrete results. Oh no, guys, they're scamming everybody. So all this Russiagate, all of this bullshit, all of this crap was nothing more than a lie. I want to pull this up here. Classified since 2016, hidden from Congress, used to justify mass censorship. The leaked email from Millard Bernardo just exposed the origin of the critical infrastructure threat narrative. It was never about Russia. It was about legal cover. Hillary's team, Hilldog herself, approved the plan to frame election security as a domestic infrastructure threat. The goal, distract from her own email scandal because she screwed up, was that. The result, they rewrote cyber law to spy on Americans. Hi, Philip. Hi, Brian. Those are my FBI handlers. Bill, Tom, say hello to your wives for me. Those are my NSA handlers. And Johnny and Pete, well, those are my boys at the CIA. Anyways, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? And why is my audience talking about strap-ons in the live stream chat? And no, I am not going to edit that out. Myra Page, what's going on here? Off topic. This is Late at Night with Kit with Hard Lens Media. Oh, it'll be funny when I clip this. Be like, Kit, you're supposed to talk about a serious story. Yes, this is a serious story. But on the other hand, too, holy crap, I talked about this in 2018, 2019, 2020. Next thing you know, Fat Tony, a.k.a. Cenk Uygur, be like, guys, did you know Russiagate was fake? Yeah. Get that hoagie out of your mouth. Oh, wait, that's not a hoagie. Okay, I got to stop being mean. I got to stop being mean. I got to be nice. After all, I have to set an example for my audience. This is where it all began, the fake narrative that gave U.S. intel the right to treat dissent as a national threat. That's why they're spying on you. That's how they built the censorship industrial complex on a lie. Why isn't every journalist screaming about this? You want to know why they're not screaming? You want to know why they're never talking about it? I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. You want to know why they're not talking about it? It's because they are paid to shut up. Okay? Okay, so for all these people who are out there saying, oh, I didn't know this, that the media lied to us. Well, guess what?
All lies will be exposed.
And you know something else? To everybody else now that's jumping on the train, you know, you're saying like, oh, actually, we were always on board in the first place. Here's what I think about it.
And here's what I think about it.
Absolutely. Don't worry, folks. More sound bites are coming in soon. Check this out, though. All right. We got another tweet on Easy Street. Hillary Clinton's tweet in 2016 accused Trump of using a covert Russian server. Jake Sullivan backed it with an official statement. The media called it evidence. Yeah, evidence. The FBI launched probes. Trump was hounded for years. Now in 2025, Jane Wood calls it what it was, a willful and unabashed lie designed to destroy an honest election. Well, I wouldn't call it an honest election, but it was shite. But don't worry, folks. I got something that'll make you laugh and make you cry. 4 minutes of lies. 4 minutes of sweet little lies.
I think that...
Oh, wait. Viewer discretion should be advised. Here's Hilldog.
There is a lot to investigate. And I'm personally very grateful that somebody of the stature of Robert Mueller would be there conducting this investigation. He's a totally straight arrow guy. I mean, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. And I really believe that he will be honest and transparent and tell us whatever it is he finds. But as I say in the book, and I try to explain what bothers me, there's just too many connections to be called just coincidences. There just are. And, you know, some of it is financial entanglements.
An entanglement with August? What? I'm sorry. Somewhere out there I could hear Will Smith crying.
And some of it is hunting for, you know, negative information about me. And some of it is calling, you know, people and trying to hide the connections and the meetings and the calls and all of that. All of that has gone on. Now, there's a lot of smoke. And whether or not there's fire, we need to figure it out. But here is what's important. Put the investigation into Trump, his associates, and everybody else to one side. There is no denying that the Russians interfered in the election.
Right.
whether or not they had willing or unwitting help from the Trump team. They
This is a lie. This is a lie. And why do you think we're in Ukraine right now, folks? Why do you think there are sanctions? Why do you think there's so much instability? Why do you think there's so much surveillance? Why do you think there's so much censorship? Why do you think Hardlin's media got gut checked from 2020 or even up to 2024? And shame on anybody who thinks censorship, deplatforming, and termination is a good idea. If you think censorship's the answer or termination's the answer, I call you coward. Coward. And we had all these vote blue, no matter who, latte drinking, mimosa sipping, lazy bastards thinking that it was A-okay to do that. So if you talked about Russia, well, you were censored, man. I remember it. Why do you think sometimes I'm a little bit bitter or a little bit distant? I try to keep a smile on my face, but after being in the trenches, I got like the 1,000-mile stare, boss.
interfered, and they did so to help him and hurt me, and they did so to destabilize our democracy, and they have not stopped.
What's not clear from your book is whether you think that the Trump campaign was colluding in this.
We don't know the answer to that. That is part of what is being explored. There are some serious questions because what happened when the emails of my campaign manager, John Podesta, were stolen by the Russian intelligence services. Then they were conveyed to WikiLeaks, which is basically now a mouthpiece for Russia authorities.
Why do you think Julian Assange suffered so much? WikiLeaks was vilified. Why do you think he was in pain? So many whistleblowers and journalists have lost their lives and careers. Many journalists had to leave the USA. Other people lost their entire livelihoods because of this. If you were on board with censorship, or even if you use the tools of censorship and termination, demonetization, I call you a good little puppet with a hand right up your wazoo. You ain't no fighter. All those vote blue no matter who people. You helped make this Frankenstein.
And then they were released on the very same day that the Hollywood Access tape came out showing Trump, bragging about sexual assault.
Yes, grabbing the punani. Okay, well, gee, what about your husband and his time visiting Epstein Island, huh?
Then they were what we call weaponized, so that they were turned into phony news stories, they were turned into Facebook posts, and then they were targeted at specific voters. The question is, where did the Russians get that kind of targeting information? And, that is one of the unanswered questions that investigators in Congress and the special counsel are looking into.
The Russian government has engaged in espionage against Americans. They have hacked American websites, American accounts of private people, of institutions. Then they have given that information to WikiLeaks for the purpose of putting it on the internet.
And that's why, if you hear that, are you seeing this? This was only in 2016, 8 years ago. Listen, YouTube, the internet, holy crap. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say these words. I'm old enough to remember when the internet was so much different in 2016. And it's because of Russiagate. And it's because of the media. And its knee-jerk reaction. And how people were talking. Oh, and now look at it. Look at all the guidelines. Look at the guidelines. Look at it. Look at it in your face. Are you not sad? I know, Jenny Lynn. I'm sad too. Guys, gals, I hate to break it to you. I don't think we could twerk our way out of this one.
This has come from the highest levels of the Russian government, clearly from Putin himself, in an effort, as 17 of our intelligence.
Pam K36, look, I love you so much. You are such a great viewing audience member. But no, that's a good question, but it's a silly goose question. Will the people who fell for this actually apologize? Only if there's money involved. If they're an influencer or something like that, if they get a paycheck, they will. After everybody else, I think they're going to be in a moment of confusion. They're not going to know what to say. They're not going to know what to do. Some people are just not built for it, okay? Some people are built to follow orders.
Agencies have confirmed to influence our election. So I actually think the most important question of this evening, Chris, is finally, will Donald Trump admit and condemn that the Russians are doing this and make it clear that he will not have the help of Putin in this election, that he rejects Russian espionage against Americans, which he actually encouraged in the past. Those are the questions we need answered. We've never had anything like this happen in any of our elections before.
I mean, if you're going to let Russia get
Look at this liar. Look at what this woman did to us. You want to know why things suck now on the internet? Because of her. By the way, to all the feminists and Me Too and Time's Up, look, listen. Me Too and Time's Up, you actually did have potential. Too bad you got hijacked by latte drinking liberals and Democratic establishment hack frauds. But you know what? It's okay. What's it like knowing that the Democrats are doing cover fire for Epstein? Did you know that the Clintons were good friends with Epstein? Did you know that anyone that ever testified against the Clintons mysteriously met their end? I mean, it's a little suspicious. Suspicious.
away with what they did and are still doing, according to Christopher Wray, the current FBI director, who said that last week, they're in our election systems. We're worried about 2020, he said. So, hey, let's have a great power contest and let's get the Chinese in on the side of somebody else. Why are, other Americans basically believing Putin? Why did Trump believe Putin more than our 11 intelligence agencies?
I don't know. Do you have a working theory?
I do have a working theory. And why is Donald Trump so enamored of Putin? Well, part of it is he's a wannabe dictator. He has told us that repeatedly. He even said the other day, let's basically get out of NATO and, encourage Putin to do what he wants to do. How absurd a statement that is cannot even be, measured, because you are essentially giving a green light to a murderous, brutal dictator.
And it was all a lie. All a lie. All lies shall be exposed. Say it again to the great prophet Cat Williams, who once said these words so everyone can hear
All lies will be exposed.
All lies shall and will be exposed, as it should be all the time, every time. Say it again one more time, Professor.
All lies will be exposed.
All lies will be exposed. So now, and here's the thing. I gave a lot of liberals and Democrats this warning because I said, look, this whole thing was Russiagate. This whole damn thing was Russiagate. Do you want to know what's so stupid about it? Is that I kept saying to these people, and yes, I do mean those people, all these latte drinking liberals, you better hope that this is real, because you do realize that Trump's going to capitalize on it, right? And I know that this is a distraction. It is. This is a distraction. It's all a distraction. We knew this many years ago. It was all bullshit. Bullshit. U.S. President Donald Trump has denounced the Russiagate investigation into alleged ties between his 2016 campaign and the Kremlin was as a totally undisputed hoax, the biggest scandal in American history. Well, gee, Mr. President, the Epstein files, I'd argue, are a bigger scandal, calling for those behind it to face consequences, including those that would hide the Epstein files. What? I'm sorry, I'm not going to let that thing go. I ain't letting it go. Screw that. Taking to Truth Social on Friday, Trump wrote, "The facts are all there in black and white." He added, "The perpetrators of this crime must pay a big price. This can never be allowed to happen in our country again." That's right. Release the files. Release the Epstein files. Hold on. Sneezing on air, my biggest fear. All right. Hate doing that. Keeping that in there, and I'm not going to clip it out. On Thursday, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, a Republican from Iowa, released an annex to Special Counsel John Durham's 2023 report on Russiagate. Grassley said it was exposes the weaponization of the FBI under the Obama administration and efforts to derail Trump's presidency. Look at that. So, see? Look, we were going to talk about Mueller time. Remember when that used to be a TYT segment? Somewhere out there, I'm hearing Jimmy Dore laugh. Despite special counsel Robert Mueller later finding no evidence of collusion, Russiagate continued to dominate the media coverage during Trump's first term. Moscow has denied interfering in the 2016 election, calling the claims a politically driven smear campaign means to justify sanctions and ruin relations. Ugh. Now, of course, we all know that Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard declassified over 100 pages of documents suggesting senior Obama-era intel officials dismiss assessments showing no Russia involvement. Russia called Russiagate a years-long coup against Trump. The scandal, she said, severely damaged U.S.-Russia relations, triggering sanctions, asset seizures, and the breakdown in diplomacy. Because what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong by constantly promoting a ridiculous theory about Russia? Well, I don't know, a potential war that could cause World War III between Russia and Ukraine, with NATO there on the border, the Biden-Harris administration allowing it to happen, the Biden administration having close ties with members of the Ukrainian government, Ukraine and Russia having their own hot history. No, not a hot and bothered history, but a hot history that would lead to knives out, guns out, and everybody dying, with potential mushroom clouds in the sky and walls of fire vaporizing cities. I mean, what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? The answer is a lot. Oh, and not to mention constant surveillance and censorship. Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun to step around eggshells that have now turned into landmines? Isn't it fun seeing people who you once called friends become totally hypnotized and weaponized to turn against anyone that goes against the political thought? This is where people like the political police come in. And we could thank the Democrats and the latte drinking liberals, the vote blue no matter who industrial complex, for opening that door. Brilliant job. Nobody in position of power had to lift the fingers. All what they had to do was have corporate media spin sweet little lies, have the politicians like Hillary Clinton tell their little lies, and mindless, obedient lemmings helped cause the great divide. Of course, this story is 8 years late. I mean, it feels good to be vindicated, but I'm crying a little bit on the inside. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.